Warning: this story contains audio footage that may be distressing for some viewers.
Hello, Dad. I might have a bit of a situation. See, I met up with a girl for a date tonight, and she started getting really aggressive. Like, it was all right at first, and like we, had sex in bed, and then after that, like, she kept drinking, and we were both drinking, and she, like, I think she thought it was like a joke or something, but she kept like beating me up and whatever. Yeah, and it was because she was really drunk, and like I forced her out on the balcony, and I think she might have jumped off. Like, I've been walking around and there are like a million cops around my building. I don't know what to do. I didn't cause this. Like, I didn't push her or anything. I'm like just walking around the area, and there's like a million cops around the area. This is really fucked up. I'm like next to Domino's. So, like, I didn't. This isn't my fault. I didn't do this. I was giving her my alcohol, but she was really violent, and I don't know. I like tackled her on my floor inside the building, and then, but I never forced her over the balcony. God no, I never do anything like that. It's really f***ed up. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm walking around the area, and I just see a million cops around Avalon. Dad, this is really f***ed up. Why does this shit keep happening to me? Like, I kind of like walk past the building a few times, and there's a million cops out there. I don't know what the f*** happened. It's crazy. This is f***ed up. This is so f***ed up. I swear to God, I didn't push her or anything. I just chucked her out on the balcony and shut the door because she was beating me up. All right.
The phone call you've just heard is that of 28-year-old Gable Tostee speaking to his father minutes after Warriena Wright, a woman he had just met on Tinder, plunged 14 stories to her death from the balcony of his high-rise apartment. Gable claimed she had been so drunk that she attempted to climb over and fell. Police would disagree and, several days later, charged Gable Tostee with her murder. But the case of Warriena Wright is anything but cut and dry. Police had found an audio recording on Gable's phone that captured Gable's entire ill-fated date with Warriena. We'll take a closer look at Gable's bizarre habit of recording his dates a little later. Suffice to say that in the days and years to follow, the harrowing recording of Warriena Wright's last moments would divide opinion across the true crime community. Here, we give you the facts, the uncut audio, the eyewitness accounts, and the theories surrounding exactly what happened in the final moments before Warriena Wright fell to her death. Was Gable Tostee responsible? We'll leave that for you to decide. Welcome to Fear Files, where we discuss and dissect the most mysterious, terrifying, and mind-bending cases from all over the world. Before we start, we would like to send our thoughts and prayers to the loved ones of Warriena Wright, whose life was tragically cut short at the age of just 26. Welcome to Surfer's Paradise, a coastal town on the Australian Gold Coast and one of the country's most iconic tourist destinations. With 60 kilometers of white sand beaches set against a backdrop of inland waterways and mountainous rainforest, there's little you won't find in Surfer's Paradise when it comes to holiday entertainment. Water skiing, theme parks, night markets, restaurants, caving, and treetop walks, and even the odd predatory guy with a single-minded thirst for casual sex. In August of 2014, 26-year-old New Zealander Warriena Wright was newly single after a recent long-term relationship had ended. She was ready to get back into the dating scene, and with time to spare, Warriena was holidaying in Surfer's Paradise for a friend's wedding. She logged onto Tinder. One profile immediately caught her eye. 28-year-old Gable Tostee wasn't her usual type. He looked like the kind of guy who spent too much time in the gym, and his dazzlingly white smile was Hollywood fake. But he reminded her of Sam Winchester, a character in Supernatural, one of her favorite TV shows. Warriena swiped right. Within minutes, she had a match and a message. "You look delicious," Gable wrote. "I want to do dirty things to you." It was the sort of line that normally would have Warriena running for the hills. When it came to men, she always valued intelligence over looks and loved a good conversation with someone who had interesting opinions to share. After all, she had plenty of her own. She was a passionate animal rights advocate with a ton of hobbies and interests: photography, drawing, gaming, anime. She was also known for her wicked sense of humor. Her sister and closest friend, 25-year-old Marisa, said that she was a prankster, but also the most reliable friend in the world. When friends were in trouble, they turned to Warriena. Still, there was no harm in a little bit of chat. "That usually work?" she teased. Gable took the joke in his stride, and then quickly turned the topic back to sex. He asked if she could be a freak in the sheets. "Let's get drunk together," he wrote. "I'm a porn star after a few drinks." Warriena wrote, "Please don't be an old, creepy, pervy dude." Gable wasn't exactly ticking all of Warriena's boxes, but over the coming days they chatted some more. Gable seemed okay. He was also good-looking, and she was feeling adventurous. The two swapped numbers, and on August 7th, Gable and Warriena met on Cavell Avenue, the nightclub precinct of Surfer's Paradise. Security footage captures them greeting each other with an awkward hug. Tostee is towering at 188 centimeters, or 6'2" tall, and 90 kilos, or 198 pounds. Warriena, a petite 162 centimeters tall, or 5'3", and 57 kilograms, or 125 pounds. A few minutes later, the two are captured walking into the Surfer's Paradise Tavern beer garden, but they reemerge a minute later and then walk to a nearby convenience store where they purchase a six-pack of beer before making the short walk to Gable's high-rise apartment. At 8:58 p.m., just 15 minutes after their first encounter, Warriena and Gable can be seen stepping into the Avalon apartment building where Gable lived on the 14th floor. Over the next 4 hours, Warriena and Gable would finish their beers before Gable would bring over some moonshine vodka he had distilled himself in his kitchen. At some point, the two had sex. They snapped selfies, which Warriena posted on her Facebook page. At 12:56 a.m., Tostee hit record on his phone, titling the recording Session 24. The audio would last 3 hours and 19 minutes. Less than 2 hours in, Warriena Wright would be dead. 28-year-old carpet layer Gable Tostee had specifically chosen his bachelor pad in the high-rise Avalon apartment block for its close proximity to bars and clubs of Surfer's Paradise. The notorious party strip at Surfer's Paradise was a year-round calling card for attractive, fun-seeking women. Gable wanted quick, no-strings-attached sex, and this was the best place to get it. Over the past 3 years, Gable had slept with 270 different women. The figure wasn't an estimate. He had a handwritten log of every girl he had slept with, including the dates of each encounter. He also started making audio recordings of his dates on his mobile phone. For Gable, it was a protective measure. You just never know what might happen. In his experience, some girls were just nuts. You only needed to look at the trouble they'd caused him already. He'd been given lifetime bans for at least 3 of the biggest clubs in Surfer's Paradise after women kept complaining that he was creeping them out. Now, every time a new club opened, he'd often be thrown out by security guards before he'd even had a drink. Gable couldn't figure out what he'd done to deserve this, but then again, all his life he'd had a hard time understanding women and people in general. Gable had grown up on the Gold Coast, but over the years the town dubbed Paradise had dealt him huge amounts of misery. All through school he had been marginalized and bullied. His parents had been good to him, but even at home he felt tormented by the rituals he had established to manage his anxiety. Things improved a bit during his final year of high school once he discovered alcohol. After a few drinks, his awkwardness and anxiety vanished. He made himself a fake ID so he could join his peers at clubs. Soon, everyone was asking for one. Almost overnight, Gable was the go-to guy for a fake ID. That was the year he also decided to get a ripped body to match his new image. He joined the forum of bodybuilding.com, a site for muscle sculpting enthusiasts. It would become a mainstay of his social interaction for the next 10 years. By 2014, he'd posted 5,869 messages on that forum. But things were about to go horribly wrong. In the summer of 2004, Gable took his fake ID racket up a notch, selling IDs to the underage teenagers who flocked to the city to celebrate Schoolies Week. He raked in $30,000 before he was caught. When police examined his computer, they discovered his other, most recent endeavor, counterfeiting money. He'd made a near-perfect replication of a $50 note. During his court case, a psychiatrist who assessed Gable didn't mince words. He described him as ill-equipped to deal with people and someone who was a socially distant, emotionally estranged person. Tostee got community service and took a job at his father's carpet-laying business. He also cut off from everyone he knew. For the next 5 years, he'd live as a virtual recluse. 2010 was a big year for Gable. Now 23, he took to the forum of bodybuilding.com and made an announcement. "Recently, I have decided I need to start socializing properly again and build up a network of friends," he wrote. The problem was he didn't know where to begin. Should he set up a Facebook page or track down his old schoolmates? Tips and advice flowed in. Several days later, he posted an update. He'd found an old schoolmate and they had been clubbing. He'd kissed a girl, but it had been awkward and gone nowhere. He'd only ever been with one girl, and that was 5 years ago. A week later, he posted that he'd been out again, and this time had tried a more aggressive approach with a girl. They had had sex in the back of his car. Gable worked just 4 hours a day laying carpet. He now dedicated most of his free time to picking up women for sex, sharing every detail of his successes and failures on the forum. Of one failed attempt, he wrote, "Not sure what more I could have possibly done. Bought her more drinks? Would this be unethical?" He also posted every milestone. Of his 100th girl, he wrote that she had been a big drop in his standards. He just wanted to get number 100 out of the way. In April 2013, he discovered Tinder. It was perfect timing. What with the bans from clubs and his bad reputation, his local hunting ground was shrinking to nothing. But even Tinder dates weren't a sure thing. Gable posted openly about his irritation at being turned away. One woman, he said, had invited him back to her place before suddenly freaking out and insisting he leave. Gable was infuriated that some women seemed to think that Tinder was more than just instant sex. Just had a big fail streak over the weekend, met up with 4 different chicks, 3 who came over to my apartment for drinks but were totally frigid. Had a 21-year-old Tinder date come over for drinks. We were getting along fine, started kissing. I go to lift her up and take her inside from the balcony, but she totally freaks out, bolts out the door, deletes me off both Tinder and Facebook. Maybe I acted too abruptly and snapped her out of her little lust trance by manhandling her. Sick of time and money-wasting bitches, he wrote in September 2013 about totally frigid women. Every girl has Tinder now, and none of them are down to anymore. One member wrote back, "It's simple, bro. Girls can actually choose who they want to have sex with. Crazy, huh?" Other times he complained of misleading pictures. Banged 2 girls tonight. First one was 4 of 10. Not worth mentioning, she didn't look like her pics and I couldn't even finish. One member challenged him on his boasting and desperation to have sex with as many women as possible. Gable admitted that it came down to his low self-esteem. Having sex with attractive women made him feel better about himself, he said. By August 2014, he'd slept with 270 women. It was a numbers game, he said. Use the app every day and you'll find success every 5 days. He hardly had a thumb left after so much swiping. But Gable was also drinking too much, and when he did, things spun out of control. He'd recently been in trouble with the police after skipping out on paying a tuk-tuk driver. A month prior, he'd been in a high-speed police chase. When they finally pulled him over, he had a blood alcohol level of 0.2, 4 times the legal limit. On August 1st, Gable did his daily Tinder round, this time swiping an eye-catching dark-haired girl called Warriena Wright. She was a natural beauty with high cheekbones and large, striking brown eyes. She was at least a 7 out of 10, possibly an 8, he thought. Gable Tostee never slept with anyone below a 7. Please be warned that the following audio could be disturbing to some listeners. 12:56 a.m. Warriena Wright was normally a beer drinker. Not long after Gable hits record on his phone, she declares herself psycho-drunk. Gable sounds sober. Tests later revealed that Warriena had a blood alcohol level of 0.156, 3 times the legal limit. Warriena's conversation becomes drunkenly nonsensical. She play-fights with Gable with Muay Thai, a martial art she once learned. Despite how intoxicated she is, Gable gives her at least 2 more shots of moonshine vodka.
Call them with what? I thought you lost your phone.
Exactly.
So how are you going to call anyone without your phone?
You stole my fucking phone.
I didn't touch your goddamn phone.
You guys fucking stole my shit.
Shit, I should
So
never...
that's why I'm fucking calling them.
should have never given you so much to drink. I thought we were going to have fun.
Well, where's my shit?
Where's your
Where's
phone?
my shit?
What's your phone number? I'll
Go
have it.
100 fucking psycho bitch. Fucking...
I don't deserve this shit, alright? I'm a nice fucking guy.
Yeah. Nice fucking guy with all the money.
Must be on the balcony.
Well, I have shitloads of money. Why is my fucking money?
Stop. Just calm down, please.
I'm not coming down
You've
because
had too much to drink, alright?
I'm not coming down because I've had so much to drink and I have shitloads of money in New Zealand. It's not funny. Because I'm a fucking rich in New Zealand. It's not fucking funny. And it's shitty because I fucking rule in New Zealand and it fucking sucks because people fucking take advantage of me in New Zealand and it's shit because I have fucking money. It's not fucking funny. Shit! You know?
Calm down, please.
Do you know how I freak out? Because no one else has money.
Do you even remember what you were doing to me like half an hour ago? It was freaking me out. You beat me up for no reason.
Exactly.
Why?
Because you said you're a freak.
You thought it was funny or something. It's not.
No, I told you.
1:35 a.m. Things take a turn. Warriena wants to go home but can't find her phone. Gable says that maybe she left her phone on the balcony. She accuses Gable of stealing it, and when he laughs, she becomes aggressive. Gable, knowing the conversation is being recorded, makes a point of saying that she's beating him up. Then suddenly, she's calm again, and she says she might go look out the window. She means the balcony. Gable replies with chilling prescience, "Don't jump off or anything, will you?" 2:10 a.m. Gable and Warriena are heard play fighting. Warriena starts throwing small ornamental pebbles at Gable. These are later visible on the floor of Gable's lounge room. An instant later, Gable snaps. He takes Warriena down in a tackle. This time his tone turns menacing, his threats disturbing. Her voice sounds muffled, her airway constricted. It's clear that she's being pressed down face first. She agrees to leave, but Gable continues restraining her. Then comes the soon-to-be famous line, "You're lucky I haven't chucked you off my fucking balcony, you goddamn little psycho bitch."
Alright, I give up. What do you want? What do I have to do? Oh! Do what?
I don't understand.
Oh! What?
I don't understand, Dick.
Alright, I'll bow down. I don't care, that's enough.
No.
No, that's enough. That is more than enough.
No.
You want it, you're welcome. You're not my kind of girl. That's enough. I needed a nice girl.
He's
You're
fucking
fucking
it's
insane.
not about how you need.
You're
It's
fucking,
not about how.
yeah, it is. You're fucking insane.
It's not about how you need. It's about how you give a shit now. Baby.
I thought you were only kidding, but you're not.
You're the poo.
You poo. Go on. Right now. See, I thought you were kidding, and I've taken enough. This is fucking bullshit. You're lucky I haven't chucked you off my fucking balcony, you goddamn psycho little bitch. Who the fuck do you think I am? Yeah. Do your Muay Thai now. What? What? Got something to say? Say it.
Yeah.
Say it. What?
She's a sexist.
Yeah, right. I'm the one who's injured. You don't have a goddamn scratch on you, you little bitch.
Seriously. I didn't.
Seriously, what? Seriously, what?
I shouldn't. Oh my god.
Seriously, what?
I shouldn't. I shouldn't.
I thought you were just playing around. But I'm fucking sick of this shit.
Later, it is said that Gable held Warriena down in a 78-second-long stranglehold. There's the sound of another struggle, and Warriena, scared, apologizes. Sounds of wheezing and rasping follow, and Warriena grasps hold of a metal clamp of Gable's telescope.
Come on, get up. Get up. Fuck up. Get up. I don't care. Get up. You don't understand, do you? You don't understand anything at all, do you? You don't understand. You don't understand, do you? You just don't understand. Let go. You think you can hit me and I'll just like fall down like in the movies? Huh? You don't understand anything, do you? Let go of it. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Who the fuck do you think you are?
No!
Hmm?
No! No! No!
You're trying to kill me, huh?
No!
Why'd you try to hit me with that?
No!
Huh?
No! 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 No!
Fucking mouth. It's all on recording, you know? It's all being recorded. I would, but you've been a bad girl.
2:19 a.m. Gable seems to flip. There is the sound of what police think is the balcony door unlocking. Warriena starts screaming. She screams the word no a total of 31 times in 46 seconds. The sound of each scream is harrowing. Body language experts later describe them as primal screams of someone genuinely terrified for their life. Just after 2 a.m., Gabrielle Collier-Widener awakes to the sound of a scuffle and a woman's panicked screams. Gabrielle lived on the floor directly below Gable's. 2 months earlier, she had heard similar screams coming from Gable Tostee's apartment. This time, she leaps up and looks out her glass terrace doors. What she sees horrifies her. 2 legs are dangling from the balcony above. Before she can react, the woman slipped. She hears her make a small sound of shock, but it's partially drowned out by her own horrified screams. Nick Casey, who is 2 floors below Tostee's apartment, visiting a friend and fellow hairdresser Emily Ellis, hearing banging and screams for help from the apartment above, Nick, Emily, and her boyfriend Ryan Martin come out onto their balcony. They see a woman on the wrong side of the glass balustrade above. Her back is against the building, her feet dangling. They hear her say, "I want to go home," and help. "We couldn't work out why or what she was doing," Emily said. "She isn't gripping either, and she wasn't on the ledge, so her feet were dangling. I couldn't work out, is she trying to get down or was she trying to get somewhere else?" An image frequently circulated by news media outlets show a recreation of Warriena dangling with her feet towards the building. This is incorrect. According to eyewitnesses, Warriena was facing away from the building. A small but potentially pivotal detail in the puzzle of how she got there and what she was trying to do. Casey sees her face as she falls, the terror in her eyes. It is a look that will haunt him for the rest of his life. He's so close he could reach out and touch her as she passes. A second later, she hits the ground. Gable, by his own admission, sees Warriena disappear off the balcony. He says he doesn't hear her scream, although it is caught on his phone at 2:21 a.m. It's the sound of Warriena screaming as she slips and falls to her death from the outside ledge of his balcony. Gable doesn't call police or an ambulance. He doesn't look over the balcony either. That would make him look responsible for what can only be her certain death. He calls his lawyer. A few minutes later, breathing hard, Gable leaves his apartment and heads downstairs. When he sees the emergency personnel surrounding the building, he returns inside and leaves through an exit to the parking garage instead. For a while, Gable wanders the street, avoiding the chaos around his apartment block. At 3:11 a.m., he stops by a shop and orders a slice of pizza before phoning his father. He swears to his father that he didn't push Warriena and asks why this sort of thing always happens to him. At 3:44 a.m., his father picks him up and takes him back to the family home. The media storm that would follow the death of Warriena Wright would begin to stir within hours. Dubbed the Tinder murder, the eyes of every reporter from every major media outlet were soon on Gable Tostee. Reporters dug into and dissected his past, his convictions, his psychiatric reports, his social media, from Facebook to Tinder to the thousands of damning posts he made to his buddies on the bodybuilding.com forum. In the court of public opinion, Gable was condemned as guilty. He had shown no interest in the well-being of a woman who had just fallen 14 stories from his balcony. Instead, he'd rung his lawyer, fled the scene, and had enough appetite to eat pizza. None of these actions made him a murderer. That, argued the prosecution during his trial, was down to what was caught on his own recording. While the audio proved that Gable was nowhere near Warriena at the moment she fell to her death from the 14th floor balcony, prosecutors argued that Gable's threats and violence had reduced Warriena to such a state of abject terror she felt the only way for her to escape was via the balcony. In October of 2016, Gable Tostee was found not guilty of the murder of Warriena Wright. The verdict was met by cheers and shouts of abuse. And that division of opinion has raged on inside online chat groups ever since. Whichever way you fall on the question of Gable Tostee's guilt, there are still many unanswered questions, such as why Warriena screamed for a full 46 seconds when Gable only had to drag her several meters to the balcony, and why it took Warriena just seconds to decide that climbing over the balcony was her only viable option for escaping Gable when she could have just called for help from neighbors. Warriena, in a semi-paralytic state, managed to climb over a railing and fall to her death, all within 30 seconds of Gable closing and locking the door to the balcony. It's hard to imagine that even the drunkest person could be simultaneously so quick-thinking and disoriented that they'd scale a railing. And then, of course, there was the most nagging question of all. Why, if Warriena had intended to climb down from the balcony, would she choose to do so facing away from the building? One theory that seems to have been given little attention is that in a fit of rage, Gable Tostee attempted to toss Warriena over the balcony before returning inside. Warriena grasped hold of the railing, falling only partway. Unable to climb back up, she dangled for a moment from the building before falling to her death. Gable mentioned jumping or falling off the balcony twice before Warriena actually fell. Coincidence, or something that was already on his mind? We'll leave that for you to decide. Scott Rouse and Chase Hughes, both behavioral experts, analyzed Gable Tostee during a media interview. Both reached the same conclusion. The guy is a psychopath. There's no doubt in my mind, said Rouse. His brain is not normal. If you found this case compelling, don't forget to like the video. Comment down below your take on it and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that notification bell in order to stay up to date each time we reveal a new shocking case. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.